warm welcome to our workshop session, Gamechanger, Esports, a new level of opportunities for small and medium enterprises. My name is Wolfgang Kommerz. I am Managing Director of the Net for Future company. With the Net for Future network, we are based in Austria, and our main focus is to bring industrial companies and organizations together to talk about the topics innovation, education, and future generations. We have around 350 partner companies in our network all over Austria. Our purpose is to initiate innovative projects and collaborations and support upcoming trends such as esports within these networks. Esports is a fast-growing movement, culture, and industry that can also affect companies and business in many ways. In our session, you will find out about the potentials that esports brings into the game. Get inspired by our experts and pioneers that share insights and ideas on how whole regions can benefit by opening up to the field of esports. What can you expect today in our session? What is the agenda? First, there will be a presentation by Thomas Kunze. He is the head of the Games Institute Austria about esports as a culture and its potentials for regional development. Thereafter, we will have a discussion panel about a few topics like esports and opportunities for SMEs, for small and medium enterprises, esports as a culture and its potential for regional development, esports and the educational system, and finally, we will discuss about a case study, Esports-cosystem, a new association in our region. I would like to welcome our speakers today. Franz Fiedler, he is the head of the Department Media and Digital Technologies at the St. Pölten University of Applied Science. Thomas Kunze, founder and game master at Game Institute Austria. Gernot Nevetz, he is teacher at the Higher Technical School in Weidhofen. And finally, Markus Banzenberg, he is the vice chairman at Esports-cosystem. First of all, we will start with a short presentation from Thomas Kunze. He will talk about esports as a culture and its potential for regional development. So, Thomas, the stage is yours.
Thank you for the introduction, Wolfgang. Thank you for the opportunity to do this today, to give a short presentation about what we are talking about in the last few months and years, and also to be part of that great panel. I will start out by just sharing my presentation because I guess some footage might be interesting to you. So what is it about? It's about esports. Esports, I don't know if you have heard of the term before. Esports is competitive gaming. And actually, it is quite successful. And the culture around esports has grown all over the world and also here in Austria. And if you have a look at esports and what it is and does it and why they are doing it, you can see that there's actually huge potential for regional development when it comes to education, when it comes to companies, and likewise. So, what is this whole thing about? Let me check. So it's about people like him. They are called the Unreachables. The Unreachables is a generation of young people who are very much into digital media, into digital culture, and especially gaming culture. The person you see here on the picture, you can also see his name, Erik Gustafsson. He's actually a student from Sweden. And I'd like to start the presentation because he actually achieved something special. Here on the picture, you can also see Learn to Esport, a company that is providing esports training for schools and for companies. And you can also see the logo of an esports organization called Ninjas in Pyjamas. The reason why this picture came up is actually because Erik Gustafsson made it to the main team at CSGO with Ninjas in Pyjamas. Why this is relevant for us and why this is a huge achievement, I would like to show you in the upcoming slides. So the unreachables, young, digitally skilled people who are interested into esports and also gaming and digital culture in general, are potential young talents for all kinds of stuff. Eric actually still goes to school. He's a student at a Swedish gymnasium, at a Swedish high school, but he also made it at the same time and became a part of the Ninjas in Pyjamas team. The website describes him as the in-game leader. I can talk about that in a few seconds. And shot caller of the team, praised by many and already showing an incredible work ethic and mindset. Amazingly talented and one of the future stars of Swedish esports. I would like to underline once again, incredible work ethic and mindset. So we are actually talking about professional skills. We are talking about a good preparation or a good skill set for becoming potential professional worker with huge potential. To give you a little context, are these guys called Ninjas in Pyjamas? Quite a funny name. The name actually came up quite a long time ago when esports was sort of a hobby, and Ninjas in Pyjamas were founded pretty early. They started out in 1999. In the year 2000, they officially founded the organization, but they were one of the early clans or early esports organization within this culture, and they are pretty successful. If you have a look at their homepage, it is nip.gl. You will see that they are not only an interesting esports organization, but also by now a leader in the culture of esports, and at the same time a very successful company. Here you have a short insight into what the presentation of the organization, the company, and the spirit that is Ninjas in Pyjamas looks like. Very much youth-oriented and pretty successful with the target audience. At the same time, the esports organization Ninjas in Pyjamas is an esports success story, one of many, I'd like to say, for example, in Scandinavia. They are a Swedish esports organization founded in 1999, officially in 2000, and they were the most successful team in early Counter-Strike global offenses, short CSGO. Today, they are still playing, and they have several teams, for example, in Rainbow Six Siege, in CSGO, in Valorant, and in FIFA. The total prize money they acquired until the beginning of this year was $5.25 million US. So quite a lot of money just through winning tournaments. The most successful player, quite well known if you are into esports and shooters, is Patrick Lindberg, called Forrest. He alone made 540,000 US prize money. So he is actually a quite successful sportsman, and at the same time a role model for a lot of young. To come back to Eric, his in-game name is Zitter. I don't know how to say that. That's not that easy. You will probably find the proper spelling at Wikipedia, where you can research all the players. But at the same time, he's a student. He's a regular student at a regular school, and the school is in Örebro in Sweden. And they are actually producing a lot of esports talents. They can do that because they work with a learning platform that is called Gameplan. You can see a screenshot here. And Gameplan is a learning platform for esports for schools, universities, and institutions. So if you would like to bring esports to your organization, you can book Gameplan, and Gameplan will actually offer everything that you need to have to do an esports program at your institution. So you will have videos to learn from. You will have the possibility to document what you played, how you played. There will be courses around professional skills, around management, about content production, and likewise. And at the same time, it actually brings an esports lifestyle to the students. So it is very much about being healthy. It's very much about having a regular pause in between matches. It is very much about doing sports and managing your physical appearance and presence to be best prepared for the matches. But when you know about esports, when you have heard of that throughout the last few years, and you live in Germany or in Austria, you have probably heard about the whole discussion about problematic content. The reason why we have that discussion, you can see here on the picture. This is a screenshot from CSGO, Counter-Strike Global Offensive, a shooter game in which you play 5 versus 5, and the goal of the game, the target you are trying to achieve is to win the map. You need to take over a certain place in the map, and mostly this happens by killing all the adversaries. So you have to kill other people. And this whole realistic process of killing people is the main reason why we have that whole discussion around problematic content with esports. Of course, these games are limited by an age rating, and you need to be aware of that. And there's a good reason for schools and people doing esports to keep young people who are sort of underage for that game out of the game. But at the same time, the whole discussion around violence in shooters is a very Central European problem, I would like to call it, because in other countries, people mostly see the sports and the competition behind the games. For example, here you can see the Prime Minister from Denmark, Lars Løkke Rasmussen, and he's actually a big fan of CSGO. In Denmark, you have a very successful team. Some say the most successful team ever playing CSGO, and that is Astralis. Astralis has won a lot of major tournaments in the last years, and that is not only due to the professional preparation and their coaches also doing a lot in health, in sports, even in psychology to prepare for the games. But at the same time, they are also a very successful company. And when being asked about Counter-Strike and about Astralis and esports in general, Mr. Rasmussen gave the following statement. I only found it in German, but I can translate it. I think it is mostly about getting the gist, what he's trying to say. He says that a lot of, actually most young people play games. Statistics say that in Denmark, 96% of all boys are playing at least twice a week. They are sitting in their rooms, in their man caves, maybe even, and play behind closed doors. But at the same time, if you have a look at the esports teams like Astralis, you can actually realize that gaming is very much about meeting people in real life, about healthy sleeping habits, and about a good approach to your physical fitness. It's about good food. It's about sports. It's about having regular pauses and stuff like that. And he would like to promote this together with us, with Astralis in Denmark. So he's very much pro CSGO and pro competitive shooters. So this attitude might change. At least we hope it does. But if it doesn't, or if we keep on discussing, it's not only about CSGO and shooters. There are many esports games, and their audiences are quite remarkable. This is a piece that is done regularly. This is about the Q1 in 2021, so at the beginning of this year, and it shows esports tiers. Esports tiers are done by having a look at peak viewers when being live. There are a lot of games. You can find CSGO here. You can also find Valorant and Rainbow Six and other shooters like PUBG, but you also find a lot of other games. For example, you have the whole MOBA sector, which is probably the most traditional and the most successful sector of esports, with games like League of Legends or Dota. And you can see here that League of Legends has a peak viewership at events like the majors or the worlds of more than 3 million people being live at the same time. So this is a massive audience. And there are also other titles that have nothing to do with violence. They are just competitive gaming in a certain area. For example, there is something like Formula One esports, e-racing, which is very popular since the pandemic started. There's also chess inside there. Chess became an esports due to the COVID restrictions and is actually mostly played online with a viewership of more than 350,000 people at the peak. You also have games like FIFA, so a soccer game. You have Rocket League, which is soccer with cars. I will show that in a second. You have racing games, and you have all kinds of games that are played competitively and are watched by a major audience. For example, Rocket League with the major tournaments reaches a viewership of around 150,000 at the same time. So this is pretty remarkable. So let's have a look at my favorite game. It's called Rocket League, and there's an esports around it. You can see here, Rocket League is a game with cars. It's a soccer game with cars, and it has some very remarkable aspects about it. First and foremost, it is completely non-violent. Of course, you can destroy other cars, but at the same time, you're just playing a ball game. As it is soccer, it is pretty easy to understand. And as it was bought by a major company about a year ago, the original company is called Psyonix, but this doesn't matter that much now. It is Epic Games, and they are really pushing the esports, doing podcasts, doing live casting, doing a lot around the game. And the game also became free about a year ago, or almost a year ago, and it is available to a major audience by now. You can play it on all platforms, and it is also cross-platform, so you can play against each other if one is on console and the other one is on PC, for example. Rocket League esports is fascinating. I will try to play that video now, or maybe I will even just quickly do it through YouTube itself, because I would like to show you the intro of a video that is called Why Rocket League is the Greatest Esports of All Time. And please breathe in and take it in and enjoy. I will just show the first 35 seconds, but I guess you can get a very good impression of what esports is actually about. I hope you can hear the sound, because the sound is actually necessary.
Seconds left. LG need this immediately. They've got to keep them in their favor. Kato tries to clear, and it's almost there. Just as it hits the floor. Puts it a long way. And it's almost there. Justin keeps it alive. Turn pass it there. That's into the corner. And the keeps them around. Justin is there for the shot.
And guess what? He scored. Of course he did. And to give you a little context, I need to get back here, presenting again. Okay, this will start the video. Rocket League, this is one too quick. Rocket League is a game that is pretty easy to understand. I guess you got the game when you had this short snippet to see it. You have a team of 3 on both sides, and they try to score. And the game that we had here was actually a pretty important game. It was the grand finals of the World Championship in season 8. And it was game 6. So you play a best of 7. So the first one who wins 4 games wins. It was game 6, and it was one team was in the lead and the other one was about to score. And if they scored that, then they would tie the game and go into overtime and be able to enter the last game. So it was a pretty important game. And you can see that it is very technical. It is very fast, but at the same time, you can perfectly understand what happens. And a great thing about Rocket League especially is we were at the end of the game, And if the counter goes to 0, the game only stops if the ball hits the ground. So the clock turned to 0 and they were still playing because the ball was kept up. And in this final moment, this player, Justin, had the ball in the air and he was able to score it. So they went to game 7 in the end. You can see the fascination and the production value and also the quality of the casting by watching this short snippet. It is a fascinating esport. It is very easy to understand. And at the same time, what the best thing about it is free of cheats. You cannot cheat in Rocket League because all of the mechanics are on the server side. So you cannot interfere with the game itself. So if you compete in Rocket League, you have to be an honest competitor. This is actually pretty amazing and provides a good playing field for young people to prove themselves. Why is this all important? Because it is important to a lot of people. Esports is a pretty common thing by now. If you haven't heard of it, you are probably only, you are in a minority by now. The German National Association for Gaming did some papers on how much people know about esports. And in Germany, for example, 10 million gamers could be part of an esports organization. They think about it. 13 million people, so that is almost a fifth of the population, have already watched an esports match. So they take part in this culture. 63% of the 16 to 24-year-old think that esports should be part of the Olympics. So this is pretty huge. But the fact that it is only common and a lot of people know about it doesn't make it valuable for us. We would like to go for potential for regional development. When you have a look at that, then there are a lot of things that come into mind. You are thinking about education. You are thinking about creating and finding skilled workers in the region. And this is easily, or this can be achieved through esports. It's not easy, but it can be done. Because if you are working in the esports ecosystem, if you are part of that, if you are doing tournaments, if you're doing casting, if you are a player, then you are part of this ecosystem. So there's a graphic that is renewed every single year, and it shows esports related professions. So if you would like to work in esports, there are a lot of areas in which you could work. There's information and technology, there's communication, there's business, there's education. All of these are needed in the esports system. I would like to show you, I will quickly jump around. I would like to show you a different presentation of the same graphic. And here we had a closer look. We were looking at, okay, what is this job like? And Twitch Interactive, the biggest streaming provider, was looking for people to work for them. And we just chose one. This is a web developer. It's a customer experience specialist. And if you have a look at what you are going to do, this definitely is a digital skilled worker. And if you are in the esports ecosystem, you start developing the same skills if you go in that direction. So to come back to my presentation, this is what is possible, and this is what is happening right now in the esports ecosystem. So these jobs all exist. If you have a look at education, then gaming becomes more and more interesting because gaming is very much about skill development. I have two charts here from the World Economic Forum talking about skill development in education. And they are actually asking for these skills. So the 21st century skills consist of foundational literacies, of major competencies, and of character qualities. And here you can see how to teach all these skills. And the first thing they say is encourage play-based learning. If you go down that list, you will find more that perfectly fits with gaming and with esports, because it's that interactive, action-oriented tool to make people do things with a passion, even because they love this hobby and this ecosystem. So esports can be a valuable way for education to bring these skills into their curricula and also to prepare young people for the world to come. Having a closer look at that, we actually worked out a project idea, and we are working on that at the moment. I cannot tell you too much about it. It will be part of our later presentation, but it's about reaching the unreachables, and it means bringing esports, education, and companies together. There's a lot that goes together. It's about technological and infrastructure development. It's about international networking in digital ecosystems for the region, for the companies, as well as for the young people. There has to be a lesson plan. So it will be included in education, in real schooling. And of course, there will be a connection between esports itself, education, esports economy, and the regional economy. I have a look at the time and I know that I need to finish, but I'd just like to show you two more things. And that is, why is that relevant to you? In the US, there are a lot of initiatives, a lot of companies working in that sector at the moment. One relevant to us or good to mention is the Corporate Esports Association. It's a company that offers esports tournaments, esports leagues for companies. So you can form esports teams within your company. Maybe they even exist already and you just don't know yet, could be. And you can use this platform if you are located in the US to do esports together and against each other. And the companies taking part there are huge ones. There's Intel, there's Google, there's Apple. They are all playing. Walmart. They have teams in all the esports and they compete against each other. It's a good measure for team building. It's a good way to present your company in a completely different light. It's a dream come true for your workers, maybe. And at the same time, it is an opportunity for professional development, for charity, and for corporate communication. So it is easy to start out esports in your company. You can do the same with schools. Here, you have an overview of the Game Plan Championships, the company that I mentioned before, and they do championships on a regular basis. This one is about League of Legends and CSGO. I mentioned both before. And a few schools are taking part, and there are teams and they are competing against each other. And the whole thing, from the graphic to the organization to the team management and so on, is done by the students themselves. So you can easily start out by just doing esports. Ask the people working with you or being part of your school if they are interested, if they are already doing esports, what they are playing, and what you could do together. That's it from my side. The reason why I am the person talking is presented here. This is Games Institute Austria. We work in that area for a while now, started in 2015. We combine experience in training and education, being teachers, being trainers, with a profound knowledge about gaming. We are gamers ourselves. I play Rocket League on a daily basis. And we are also consultants, developers, designers, and we have partners all over Europe, in Finland, Sweden, and in Switzerland, for example. So that's it from my side. I say thank you very much. If you would like to find out more, just get in touch or follow our conversation coming up. Thank you.
Thank you, Thomas, for your great speech. It was really interesting. Perfect time management. Great.
Thank you. Was it?
Really great. That's important. We only have 50 minutes for our session. So I will overhand to our panel discussion now. And before we start with the discussion, I will start with a short introduction. So Gernot, tell us something about you.
All right. My name is Kenneth Mewitz. I'm a teacher and professor at the HTL Weidhofen, which is a technical school mainly for people age 15 to 19, finishing their education with a bachelor degree eventually. Yeah.
And most of your students are professional gamer, isn't it?
I guess so. That a lot of our students are gamers. Yes,
Yeah.
definitely. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you, Gernot. Now I will overhand to Franz for your introduction.
Hello, also from my side, Franz Fiedler. I'm head of the Department of Media and Digital Technologies at the University of Applied Sciences. We have several study programs in the field of media technologies and also specializations in gaming, also programming, informatics, media production, an ecosystem that ranks around also this topic of esports.
Thank you, Franz. And last but not least, Markus, your introduction.
I'm Markus Panzenberg, the Vice Chairman of Esports-Mostviertel, 70 years old, and thanks for having me here today.
Perfect. So we will start with the discussion. So we'll start with Gernot. From the perspective of a school, what are the interesting aspects of esports from your point of view?
Now, I guess almost all our students, and let's face it, almost all the young people are into gaming, whether we like it or not. That's just a fact. So as a result, the status of esports is changing, and in fact, interest almost skyrockets. Successful esports gamers will be, I guess, in the future, most likely idols of our kids and youngsters. Times are changing here. As an educational institution, as a school and college, I think we want and we have to guide and take care of our students by professional training. And eventually, we'd like to establish an esports training center with proper educational support.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for this answer. But what are your experiences with esports so far? So we heard of your plan, what you will have in the education with esports, but what are your experience, your personal experience, and also the experience of your school related to esports so far?
Well, as of today, we are not yet into esports. Yeah. However, we trust and cooperate with local partners and their expertise, as well as nearby esport clubs. Yeah. So allow me at this time to envision our future regarding esports by means of our current soccer training center. For some 18 years, we operate a soccer department where we combine soccer training and technical as well as economic education. A team of soccer sport educators, trainers, sport scientists, physiotherapists, massage therapists, and mental trainers take care of our boys and future soccer stars. We plan to apply a similar system onto our future esports club, our first esport training center. So a combination of classic IT education and esports with a well-balanced daily life on campus. So eventually, we are convinced that all our students, as well as our supporting companies, their future employers, will benefit.
Perfect. A really interesting strategy. I think you will be the first school in Austria who will offer this
that would be great. We'd love to
potential
do
students.
Yeah.
So I will overhand to Markus. You're the vice chairman of the Esports-Mostviertel Association. Tell us more about your association, Esports-Mostviertel. How did it come to the founding of this organization, Markus?
Esports-Mostviertel is an association in the Mostviertel, which is a region in Lower Austria, and that's where we live. It's a community about gaming and esports. Everything started in November of 2019, where the League of Legends World's Finals took place. The World's Finals are the finals of the championship of League of Legends, which is a very popular game. we wanted to watch them on a public viewing, but the one in our region got cancelled. So we thought, let's just organize it ourselves. And it was very successful. So we saw there could be a demand for such an association in our region. Consequently, in December of 2019, we founded Esports-Mostviertel officially. We built a team of interested and motivated people. And from there on, we started to organize events like LAN parties or gaming parties.
So it's a really young organization. So how many members you have in your association? Or if you organize tournaments, for example, how many viewers you get at your events?
Our association contains only a couple of people that are the one that are really motivated and the ones who organize everything. But in our community, there are much more. As example, on our Discord server, we have around about 500 members. And we streamed a tournament a couple of weeks ago. We had about 100 viewers, I think.
Okay, perfect. Congratulations.
Thanks.
So I will overhand to Franz. He's the head of the Department Media and Digital Technologies at St. Pölten University of Applied Science. So your students are around 18, 19 and older. What do you think, where is the added value of esports beyond gaming itself?
That's an interesting question. And I think Thomas answered it in part before when, Thomas, you showed this one slide working in the esports ecosystems. So what we see more and more that our students in the field of media technologies, media production, media management, they also work in these esports ecosystems. These ecosystems, they are generated, they are nurtured, they grow. So we have one student, Laura, she studied media management. She's now a moderator in such esports events. We have another student who already founded a company that's doing marketing and sponsorships for esports teams. We have a lot of students in the field of media production that now work for these esports events. They do the video production, they do the streaming, and the distribution of the content in this kind of stuff. So students who are usually working in the field of media, broadcasting, now also have great chances in this new and growing large and larger ecosystem of esports now. Besides that, when you talk about the regional aspect, also Thomas and you, Wolfgang, we see that it's also a great chance for the regions. For example, Markus, you and your association, you also have these international connections via this esports association. So the regions, they connect together via this topic of esports, via the esports teams, and it brings together the regions. It also offers the possibility to bring people to the regions for events and also nurture tourism and these kind of things. So it also has to do a lot of things with marketing and these kind of aspects for the regions themselves. I think we see that. And then I have to say, when you ask about other aspects, because our student programs are also mainly technical student programs, we see that esports leads to more and more technical developments that are important also for other professional fields. What do I mean? So esports requires broadband expansion and broadband connections. So if you think of that, this is a huge thing. And there are things that are not so known. For example, the latency, the real-time effects in the communication is very important. So if you play on your controller or on your keyboard and your mouse, and you have to wait too long that your system reacts or that your connection reacts, you have a problem as a gamer. And this is also technology that is relevant for industry, for manufacturing, for production. So all the research and efforts that go into modifying and optimization of these real-time communication systems, these things can also be used in industry, in manufacturing, in connecting these kind of systems in real time with low latencies and that stuff. So there are a lot of things going on, broadband expansion, 5G, and these kind of things that are coming parts from esports, but they go to other fields like manufacturing, for example.
Franz, you talk about the technical side. What do you think related, for example, to the 21st century skills? What are the benefits for your students?
Yeah, good question as well, because Gernot was talking about esports students, and not everybody can become a star. So, but what we see is when you do esports, you develop a lot of 21st century skills. Like cognitive flexibility. So esport gamers are used to train, to try out, to fail, to learn from failure, and to do it again and to make it better. So that's kind of cognitive flexibility, where you learn something, you try it out, you do a reflection phase and say, okay, that was the problem, I changed that and I can do better. So it's a very, they develop very good skills for this agile, decentralized, digitized future that is required for the future of work overall. So even if you're not becoming the #1 esports superstar, you develop a lot of new skills that you will require in other fields. And well, what we suggest is, if you do esports, also combine it with an education that is around this esports ecosystem, because you can also take over other responsibilities in this ecosystem, like, for example, media production in this kind of things.
Perfect, thank you. But I think also the potential price, about $540,000 or something like that, you told us before, Thomas, could also be interesting for the young professional. So we will do both, the 21st century skills and also support our students to get that money. So Thomas, really interesting speech from you before. Thank you for that. But how do we know if esports isn't just another trend? What do you think about that?
Well, there could be so many answers about that. I hope that my presentation gave an insight into it, and also what Gernot and Franz and Markus said are showing what is happening and why this is not going to go away. Just to fill it up a little, if you have a look at esports here in Austria, Esports-Mostviertel, a sort of a hobbyist association, if I might call it that way. They are not aiming at professional esports right now, but at the same time they acquired about 500 members just by doing esports public viewing and playing a game together. And this is happening all over Austria at the moment. ESVÖ, the national organization, says that there are 80,000 people in Austria doing esports. We are talking competitive, like taking part in competition. And this is way higher if we have a look at the international sectors. There is a constant growth in the esports market. It is growing and growing and growing. And I can understand your question very well, because there has been this esports trend before. There has been this esports bubble and then it exploded again. But we are way beyond that. We are right in the middle of a boom of the gaming industry, of interactive entertainment, and esports is a very relevant part of it. I would like to bring up an example, and maybe most people don't even know about it. One of the most interesting internet or streaming companies actually is from Upper Austria. They are called Own 3D TV, and they just acquired the website stream.tv, and they offer services to all the major companies and esports organizations. So if you would like to shape the future of live streaming, you just have to go to Steyr, I think is the city. I don't know exactly, but to to Upper Austria. So this is happening already. There are already very successful companies within Austria that are actually thriving in that field and that are shaping the field. And besides that, if you have a look at the sport itself, major companies are investing into esports. I think last year or the year before, there was the signing of a contract between BMW and Fnatic Esports, for example. So major brands, and we are not talking just soft drinks and gaming apparel, but major brands, fashion brands, cars, all that is relevant is getting into esports. And it is, when it comes to the numbers, to the viewers, it is competing with real sports at eye level. Sometimes these events are even bigger than other major sports events. So that's why it's not going to go away. This is just the start of a major movement for the 21st century.
Like I mentioned at the beginning of the session, I told you that the Network Future network, we have around 350 companies in our network. Why do you think it's also relevant for traditional companies to invest in esports or to support projects like this?
Also, many reasons. I would suggest for any company, have a look at your staff. Have a look at if they are interested in esports already. It could be a measure for team building, for getting your people together. There were surveys that showed, especially with CEA, with Corporate Esports Association, that more than 70% of the people who were taking part in that program started a communication, started to talk to people within the company that they never talked to before. They kept up this relationship. So it's an opportunity for bonding. That's the first thing. So it's a good thing to do esports together. Just it's fun, like watching football, playing football, stuff like that. And at the same time, if you are looking into the future, there are two major questions coming up. First one is how to get into this digitalized world with my whole company. Like everyone needs to go there. Esports is a good way to go because there is fascination, there's motivation, and you use all these tools on a daily basis. If you ask Marcus or I don't know, Lucas, who are doing esports, they are organizing tournaments, and this is a complex process. They are using tools that are really high level on a daily basis because it's just what they like doing. And at the same time, you would like to reach the unreachables. That was our framing. It is about reaching people like Marcus. You might not even know that in your small village, there are a dozen of young people who are very much into live streaming, organizing, project management, and all working digitally, working remote. It's their everyday business because they like it. It's their hobby. So if you want to bring these skills into your company, have a look at these people. How do you reach the unreachables? By doing esports.
Perfect, Thomas. I think that's the main thing, reaching the unreachables. Exactly. I think that's really the benefit also for our companies to get in touch with these people, with these young professionals. So I got the information. We only have 1 minute left. So I will finally ask you one question, every one of you. When you will have your next personal esports match? Gernot, I will start with you. Your sound is off, so you have to, Gernot, your sound is off.
You're muted.
Yep, you're muted, perfect.
To be honest with you, I have no idea when that will be, but my students of my class probably force me anyway within the next couple of days to participate. So I got no choice.
Perfect, thank you, Gernot. Franz?
Thomas, you got me inspired. So I'm going to play Rocket League with my 11-year-old tonight, but it's not sports. I'm too old for the sports. I'm too slow. My words are not too slow. I will do that.
Thank you, Franz. Thomas, you're a professional gamer, isn't it?
Professional. I work with gaming professionally and I play a lot. I will have another Rocket League match tonight. I won't get out of it. That's what our community is about. So it is probably going to be, I don't know, 9 o'clock this evening, something like that. So the next matchup is already waiting for me.
Perfect. Thank you, Thomas. And Markus, when you will organize your next tournament?
We are organizing our tournament right now. It will be on the weekend.
Perfect. So thank you. Now it's time to end our session. Thank you very much for your attention. Thanks again to our speakers. And if you're interested in this topic, please feel free to get in touch with us. Goodbye. Thanks.